The cool thing about Lulu is he uses the ultimate offensively, and not just like to knock people up. If there's a Corki using Valkyrie, Lustboy will use that ultimate and just knock him up in the air, just stopping it midway through, which is really hard to do and shows how damn good he is.
It's unfortunate, though, that we're not going to see Corki in this game, though. Azubu Blaze decided to ban that one out, and that's just a testament to how powerful Wei Zhao is as an AD carry. How often do you see AD carries being banned out that are not named Ezreal?
Not too often. Well, things have changed. I mean, we saw Misfortune coming out last game, absolutely wrecking house in the end with her AoE. I mean, that was like the Stanley show for a while, but
Featuring Misfortune.
Featuring Misfortune, but AD carries, they come and go. Like, we always have the Trinity we talk about, but there's always going to be Misfortune. She can still do a lot of damage. Ashe was still effective that game. Twisted Fate being banned out by we actually, more scared of the TF pick coming out from Azubu, so they didn't want to pick him first, but they knew that they could pick him in reaction. So nice solid ban.
I kind of like that. Those are the mind games that you get in the picks and bans process. Is Azubu Blaze realizing that, okay, we're not going to ban out Twisted Fate right away, and since we have, you know, the last ban, the last say to see who's going to be in the game or not, we're going to leave that one open. And now World Elite having to ban out Twisted Fate, that's potentially a champion that they could have banned out against Azubu Blaze, but they are, however, going to leave open Diana.
Diana, one of the most common bans this tournament, been absolutely devastating. This does leave Shen open, so Shen being looked at in response. I mean, Flame has a very, very good Shen, to say the least. At the same time, Diana, oh, no, don't troll me. There we go. That's a character people will play.
Well, unless your name is Voyboy.
Yeah, well, okay, maybe we'll see the Nexus at one point, but really coming out from Flame. Very good pick there, very solid. Helios looking at Zyra right now. I would expect to support Zyra just because it's what people tend to do. Against someone like Diana, Diana can dive onto Zyra, and if Zyra misses one skill shot, she's dead.
Exactly, so it's potentially support Zyra being picked up here by Azubu Blaze Aurelia as well, a very powerful top laner in her own right, as proven by many players throughout the world. We do have Lee Sin and now Draven potentially being hovered over, and you know, you banned out Corki, Vayne actually still on the table as well, as they're just cycling through champions right now. There's a lot of potential for the AD carry position to still be picked up. They are going to maybe cap their jungler here with Lee Sin. That would be taking it away from Azubu Blaze, of course. But, you know, that still leaves them. They don't have to worry about taking a support or anything right now.
Something I love about Wei Zhao and Captain Jack, you can just say any AD carry, and they'll both be terrifying on it. Captain Jack, his Vayne is amazing. Wei Zhao, his Vayne is amazing. So that Vayne, it's going to be scary no matter who picks it up, and I think the late game carry potential might just come into play with these characters.
Well, speaking of, maybe we can get a quick listen in to see what Captain Jack is actually saying now that World Elite has Vayne.
Let's see if we can't get that listening going on.
Maybe we're not going to.
Maybe.
Potentially,
can't see, but possibly.
Maybe he's just so stern-faced with the Vayne that he has nothing to say, except he just wants to beat it.
Yeah.
So we do have ambition hovering over Rise right here. Captain Jack has still not been able to lock in his champion yet. Still thinking about potentially, are they going to, you know, they're picking up their mid laner here. Are they going to wind up taking their AD carry? Are they going to be able to secure themselves a jungler in this case? They're not too worried considering both of those have already been taken away. Actually interesting enough to see that they might be picking up their mid lane champion here.
Looks like, well, going to go for that jungle Cho'Gath. That just leaves, I believe, who does that leave?
Their AD carry.
AD carry, yeah. So just AD carry, the only thing remaining. Usually AD carries can't be countered. I think at this point, Azubu felt that no matter what we picked up, they'd be happy with their composition, just because the support was still open for we, but Nunu Vayne, that's not really a lane that's devastating to most lanes. It's devastating late game for sure, but it's not a lane that automatically wins for the most part. And Rengar being looked at, Rengar's just been awesome so far this tournament. We saw Stanley do it before, but even when Team Dynamic picked it up against Blaze earlier, it was still effective, despite the fact that they did not win that game.
Yeah, so we do have Rengar being hovered over as well as that Nunu. You talked about the late game potential of that Vayne and Nunu lane. I mean, now we could potentially see World Elite going for that lane swap kind of fundamental. We, of course, have Aurelia available from Azubu Blaze. She's not the worst 1v2 laner in the world. However, she's going to be pushed under tower, and Vayne's going to be really safe farming that lane, going for a late game. Rengar we also saw in 1v2 situations earlier in the tournament. He's a very powerful champion no matter where you're going to be placing him, in the jungle, in one of those lane matchups, whatever. Now we have Azubu Blaze hovering over Kog'Maw. They say if you're going to be going for a late farming kind of strategy, we're going to kind of match that one going with Kog'Maw, but have a Zyra for the early aggression to make sure that no one's going to be able to come in and really gank him that hard.
Okay, I think now I think we can go ahead and listen into Azubu Blaze, see what they're talking about. Maybe? I guess not.
Guess not.
Not today, not today.
You see, I'd actually brushed up on a lot of my Korean as well to listen in. I don't know about you, but I watch a lot of K-pop videos, and I understand them now.
They're just not talking, apparently. Apparently we're listening in.
All right, so apparently they're just stern-faced and really focused on this game. The lineups have been set. Does it going to have Rengar in the top lane, Lee Sin in the jungle, going up against Cho'Gath in the jungle, and Aurelia in the top lane. Like I said before, though, there's always the potential of a lane swap, regardless of the fact both these AD carries in Kog'Maw and Vayne are going to be looking to play for the late game. We have Vayne picking up Cleanse, going against the Zyra support. Kog'Maw picking up the heals. He's just going to be going against the Yeti in the bottom lane, or potentially top lane, wherever they wind up.
It's actually a really good lane if they do go for the 2v2 for Vayne Nunu, you don't consider it a strong lane in terms of aggression, just, in passive farming, the fact that late game, it's awesome because of Blood Boil. But Vayne against Kog'Maw is not the best match for Kog'Maw. He does have the range advantage, but if Vayne goes aggressive, she has Tumble to get through his slow. She can really get through, she can get through everything fairly safely. And Zyra, she's going to try and land skill shots, but that's not reliable.
Yeah, if you have the Tumble, of course, to evade the skill shot while still positioning yourself against that Kog'Maw, if Nunu can land one of those Ice Blasts, Kog'Maw's not going to have any real way to run away besides that Moebius trail. So it's going to be a very, sticky situation for Kog'Maw if they get put in that spot. But we are about to get underway in this game, ladies and gentlemen. Team World Elite going up against Team Azubu Blaze. Whoever wins this one's going to advance 2-0 from the group. Whoever is not going to win this game, unfortunately, still has one more to play today. That just means we get to see more games, and you guys always want to hear and see more League of Legends. Is that right? Yeah, you do. I know I do. I could just sit here all day. Well, actually, I'm kind of worried because I might fall from these double chairs he has stacked up.
Yeah, no, we got a sweet chair set up.
I might just sit here all day because I'm afraid of just falling over. But regardless, almost loaded into this game. Azubu Blaze and World Elite ready to go head-to-head against each other in studio. Looking at these teams as we load in here, what's the level 1 situation look like?
Level 1, all right, so there's no hard CC coming out of Wii. They've got a lot of slows, they've got a lot of good damage. Condemn can be a hard CC, but it's not reliable. At the same time, Cho'Gath can pick up Rupture. They do have Rise with his Rune Prison. The Voidews will be incredibly powerful because people won't have the mobility quite yet. And Zyra with her Grasping Vines. Blaze, they can go aggressive, they can go ham, they can go whatever the hell they want. And it's up to Wii to be defensive.
All right, so we're going to have to see if Blaze is exactly going to do that. They have the Rune Prism from Rise. Ambition now just doting around in the mid lane. Runs into Diana there. They kind of exchange pleasantries and then walk away from each other. Kind of lining up along the river, almost like the line of scrimmage. Unfortunately, I don't think any of these guys are familiar with American football, but they're copying it pretty well here at this level 1 engagement. Just some wards going down opposite sides of the river. Blaze warding up their own side of the jungle, potentially seeing if World Elite is going to be going for a jungle invade or lane swap, regardless of the fact. Meanwhile, World Elite just continuing to stay rather passive on their own side, grouping up around their own red buff, as they don't want that getting stolen away from Lee Sin.
It's definitely a tough matchup either way. Whoever walks in the wrong bush, they could get defeated. Vision Ward coming out from Azubu, taking out the ward. They expected it, they caught it. That's a lot of vision being guys. That's actually very important because now there's a lot more gank potential going towards that bot lane. A lot of wards have been placed by Blaze. Looking at Lustboy, he went for the zero items, just wars and potion strategy, which is getting more and more popular.
All consumables means you're going to have the superior vision. If you want to protect someone like a fragile Kog'Maw on that bottom lane, especially from aggressive Lee Sin ganks early on, there's nothing better. However, Azubu Blaze, you said they might going a little bit aggressive here. We saw Cho'Gath picking up the Rupture at level 1, so they are going to try to go in here and take away that red buff from Lee Sin. And I don't know about this, the AD carry and support from World Elite have gone to do double golem, so Lee Sin might be caught out here.
This could actually be devastating. They're waiting for the setup. The trap's, oh, it's going to spring.
We're going to see when he's going to get the Rune Prison, the Rupture. Rune Prison goes down and clear up, has to flash away from the Rupture. They're going to knock that up. Flash over the wall from Ambition, though. Wants to get the damage on the clear. Flash
one more.
Back as well. Last hit there from Ambition. First blood goes to Azubu Blaze, and they're going to net themselves a red buff.
First blood, one less Wraith attack would have saved him. He just took a little bit too much damage. The great setup coming out from Azubu. They get the pink ward down, so there's no vision. They just kind of predicted everything. We off to a very weak start in that regard. Flash is blown on Clear Love, but at least they got 2 flashes in return. Still, though, this is going to be hard for Wii.
We saw Flame actually deciding to pick up boots and 3 health potions, burning through all of them in order to secure his own red buff. So Lee Sin's not going to have that key buff he needs to get into those early ganks with the extra slow added onto the Tempest Cripple combination. So we could potentially see a little bit of a passive Lee Sin, or at least not have the same kind of gusto when he goes to gank. Flame, though, is going to be a little bit behind on CS as he goes back to buy and heal up. However, he has hit level 2 from that buff, has acquired a couple of his own sight wards in addition to the health potions. He's going to be pretty safe against Rengar.
It's going to be a tough lane overall for Kalme. Unfortunately, Rengar versus Aurelia is not a good matchup for Rengar. Eventually, Aurelia will get to a point where she can just take the damage he deals out, take the burst, and hunt him down. Hunt the cat, which is kind of a weird position for a cat to be in, but the fact that Lee Sin, only level 1, barely finishing his blue buff, just hit level 2, his ganks are still going to be okay, but they're not going to be effective, and he's going to be very squishy. It's not rare to see a Lee Sin that's underleveled go in for a gank and just die.
On top of this, Messiah had to go and leash that blue buff for Lee Sin, making sure he didn't die to his own golem, so that means that he's fallen behind in CS compared to Ryze already. 13 CS compared to 6, in addition to that first blood kill, means that Diana, the differential right now, it's only about 300 or 400 gold, but it's pretty much all between Ambition and Messiah, and that's what Blaze wants to do.
The fact that Ambition picked up first blood is going to be a huge problem. Alright, Diana's going to be effective against Ryze if she can get to level 6 faster, but he got the first blood, he has the experience advantage, and Ryze, even though he has a
Helios not done with the counter jungling though, he's going to find clear love in his own jungle, has to put a ward down and just safeguard away to that one, so they're keeping up the aggression. Meanwhile, bottom lane, Lustboy getting extremely low there. Looks like Wei Zhao will pick up a kill, Captain Jack in a bit of a precarious position. Zyra passive not going to land on Wei Zhao, so they're not able to reprise a kill there, but still, World Elite coming back and taking one for their own team, now jumping a little bit ahead.
And that's the strength Vayne has in this lane. They can pressure hard, they can really go aggressive, and there's not a lot Kama can do early on.
Yeah, now we see in the top lane, Flame kind of doting around his own tower, still has that red buff, gonna get the stun down from Equilibrium Strike on Kame. Helios though gonna be coming up from the jungle as well. Flame getting extremely low, the Sphero Scream goes off, and it looks like Kame is gonna take down Flame, but can Helios wind up taking him down in response? It looks like even though he's gonna leap away from the bush, Helios just too much there, and Kame trading 1 for 1, really getting the better of that situation.
And he needs to get that kill now. If he waits any longer, Flame would eventually tank up by a Chain Fist, not die. It's important that he gets the kills now. He can still be dominant in lane. In the end, a bitter situation for Azubu overall, but the fact that Kame gets the kill, a lot of CS does get denied for Flame. That's a great situation.
One thing that Helios does get out of that gank, though, is a refresh on his red buff, because Rengar did wind up taking down Aurelia before Cho'Gath took him down. So with that red buff now, could see him being a little bit more proactive around the map. They are in position here. Messiah actually, interestingly enough, with an experience advantage over Ambition, as it doesn't look like Ambition went back at all, but now hitting about the same level. Rupture goes off, barely missing Messiah's Diana there, and Cho'Gath's going to back up into his own jungle.
Well, the experience should even out now that the creep wave is dying to the turret. A nice little juke there. One of the things that Diana does have as a problem is she's melee, she's gankable. Fight going up top lane though, Flame trying to beat up Kame. Kame taking a lot of damage in response, but he does have the roar. He will be able to sustain really well.
Flame's got some moves of his own as he's using that Blade Surge just to CS like a beast, going back and forth all across the map now. Going to recall with a decent amount of money in his bank. Actually, had already gone back and gotten a Vampiric Scepter in addition to those health potions. So knowing that he's going to be pushing a bit forward onto Rengar now, goes back, buys himself up a couple more wards, and he's going to just want to keep himself safe from those ganks again.
Bot lane looks like it's gotten a little bit more passive. It's going to be really hard for Wei to chase down onto a Captain Jack and Lustboy. Ping's going out. I think they expect the possibility of someone hiding the brush. Now, Philip's going for a gank now. They're looking for this opening. No wards down for Blaze.
Yeah, Blaze is completely blind to this one, so Cleo could potentially get in there with a very nice Sonic Wave resonating strike at the sea. Actually, he's going to land down on Lustboy. Half his HP gone already. Tempter's cripple goes off. Wei Zhao just enough damage to tack on for that last hit there, and that is another kill for the AD carry of World Elite.
And look at the damage coming out from Zyra's passive, taking Wei Zhao down to half HP with a little bit of damage coming out from Kog'Maw. It's still being aggressive. Captain Jack never going to let a kill go for free.
No, in the top lane, meanwhile, we saw Flame actually had an experience disadvantage because of all the times he's had to go back and his death underneath that tower. So Kame now starting to take a little bit of control of that lane. Actually, I say a little bit, and we take a look at the CS, 41 compared to 17 of Aurelia.
I mean, Aurelia actually picked up a Vampiric Scepter just to sustain in lane. She's having that much trouble dealing with the pressure coming out from Kame. And Blaze, they're known at this point for having taken a turret, for having done something really aggressive, at least applied a lot of pressure somewhere. This is not happening in this game. They're not keeping up the high pressure you normally expect. And they're finding those cracks, they're finding their openings, despite giving away first blood at level 1.
Yeah, and we do see that Cho'Gath, Helios just kind of taking his own double golems away. He has been into this top lane more than he's been anywhere else on the map, though. So potentially World Elite just putting the jungler on tilt, letting Lee Sin kind of come back in this one. He got a successful gank down. He's able to clear out his jungle relatively safely. Cho'Gath having to put a little more pressure on the top lane and then clear out his own jungle means he's not going to be in the enemy jungle, but we do see him, as well as Ambition, coming up from the mid lane, though. There is a ward in that brush. It looks like Kame is going to be very careful. If he has his ultimate available, he could pop that one to get away. It is up, but the Rupture is going to go down. Is the Scream going to go off? No, he's going to wind up popping the... Actually, it doesn't even pop the ultimate. There he goes. Cooldown now. A little bit of a graphical delay down there, but he has popped the ultimate, goes invisible, and gets away.
And that's a problem you have ganking someone like Rengar. He has the escape, he has the ultimate, no oracles, onto Cho'Gath, so they could not detect him, could not hunt him down. It's a hard situation, but using the ultimate at least stops a lot of that lane pressure. He cannot gank now, he cannot roam across without being spotted by some ward or having to go through lane and someone else set up the kill for him.
Ping's going down to Messiah, meanwhile, realizing that he was roaming around from the mid lane, but decides to pop back in, so Ambition knows that his lane partner is still there. Not going to get any more ganks down on that Kog'Maw. Then she talked about Kog'Maw being very fragile in that lane. Even though they picked up kills on only Zyra, it's hindering Kog'Maw a lot because he can't go up in CS against a very aggressive Vayne and Nunu lane. 73 CS on Wei Zhao compared to the 45 of Captain Jack. 2 kills on Vayne as well. Just look at the items advantage. Vayne with a full stack of items, double Doran's, Berserker's Grease, and Vampiric Scepter, compared to just the 1 Doran's, Vampiric Scepter, Berserker's Grease, and no other consumables from Kog'Maw.
And that is a strength Vayne has. If she can get ahead early, she can keep punishing him. Captain Jack almost level 6, then he can start going for some ranged harass, trying to use that ultimate, just deal some DPS while he's not being pressured. Pause does come out though. Looks like there could be an issue going on with the players.
All right, so we do have a pause coming out here, but we did see very quickly as the gold flipped up on the screen that we had Wei Zhao 1.1k ahead of Captain Jack in that bottom lane. That is a massive lead, regardless of where you're going to be in this game. And giving it to a Vayne at this point in time, I mean, we saw what happened when Vayne got fed from Curious You against TSM being 4-1-0 at the beginning of the game. Even though the CS was a little bit closer than we have right now, just means that Vayne is going to be really, really scary.
And you cannot let someone like Vayne get ahead. Any AD carry when they get ahead is scary, but Vayne in particular, she is known as that late game carry. So is Kog'Maw, but the problem Kog'Maw has is he's going to rely only on his auto attacks, he's going to rely on defensive positioning. His team's going to have to kite for him, have to keep him alive, and if he just doesn't deal the damage, if Vayne kills everybody else before he's done anything with the protection they're providing him, they're just going to roll over dead.
Yeah, and actually we see a lot of people down there taking a look at the poll below us. We can see that a lot of you guys think that Azubu, Blaze, and Kog'Maw are going to pull through on this one. 58% compared to the 42% of World Elite. Studio, where do your percentages lie with this one? What 1% are you going to add?
All right, here's the thing. Furry Style or Wei Zhao used to play on North America. I ran into him a few times in solo queue. He destroyed me, annihilated me. So I have to go for Wei. Personal bias because they've kicked my butt before.
Oh, I thought you were going to go the opposite way. Oh, look, it changed.
Yeah, there we go.
1%? Oh, 2%. I guess they figured out that I was going to root for Wei too.
But no, Blaze, they're strong. They definitely have the potential. If the game goes on as is, though, it's a 1,200 gold lead, which is relatively high for only the 9-minute mark. But at the end, that's 1 or 2 kills, that's a dragon, that's a turret, that's so little. And teams, they've been getting better and better at comebacks. Blaze, they're no slouches themselves. We've seen them come back from so many different games with even bigger leads, and it's not hard for them to do so.
The one thing that World Elite really does have going for them, though, is a very powerful top lane Rengar at this point, completely dominating and shutting down the Aurelia from Flame. And this is something that we kind of pointed out in the first game between Team Dynamic and Azubu Blaze, where Zion Spartan was able to go toe-to-toe against Flame while he was playing his own version of Rengar. And so it might just be maybe Flame isn't comfortable with the Rengar matchup, and that's why he's going for a little bit of a different kind of build. Or maybe it's just, that is the one crack in Azubu Blaze's armor. He's the newest member of the team. They haven't had the most time to practice with him. So potentially it could just be the little bit of the sweet spot that World Elite is hitting. You did mention he went to Vampiric Scepter already when we all know Aurelia has Heaton style, and that's
She's
broken.
got her own sustain. Why does she need more sustain? Because she's taken so much damage in lane. She's getting so much pressure. I'm looking at the percentages now. Wee's just getting closer and closer to 50%. And
We're like
you know what? Hell yeah. This is a close match. I don't know who's going to win it. Like, it's not one of those things where I have my predictions, I have my feelings. No, this is 2 of the best teams in the world going at it, still in group stages, and I have no idea.
I mean, maybe we just have that much influence. We've influenced a whole 3% of people at this point in time. So I don't know. We got to be careful with the words we say. We can influence the masses.
Yeah. No, vote a 50-50 now. Let's say vote Blaze, keep it high. No, Wee's a really damn good team, and so is Blaze. There's just nothing besides that. Like, you can break it down, but they are just so good at what they do.
And actually, no, I don't really know what's going on with the pause right now, so unfortunately I can't really inform you of anything going on. But we do, I'm just looking at the pause screen right now. I mean, I don't have it on my monitor, I have it on yours, so I gotta awkwardly lean close, maybe hover hand you a little bit in order to see it. But I mean, we're looking at the build that Rengar is going. He's got that Kindle gem. It's the very tanky build that we saw coming out from M5 when they were playing Rengar and when they were playing it against TPA. This kind of very tanky, I'm gonna get all the ruby crystals in the world Rengar build. Is that just because he has so much damage on his kit alone, or is it just because he needs to be the tank for the team?
Well, it's because the way he can initiate, he can almost always dive in on somebody important, someone scary who's going to have protection. In this case, going to be the Kog'Maw. But if you build Rengar for damage, he can 2-shot Kog'Maw. Like, QQ, they're dead. and they might QQ in response, but Savagery does immense damage. But even if you don't build those items, and Kog'Maw will eventually buy a Guardian Angel. So if you don't build those items, you still do a lot of damage. You're still very relevant in team fights. And when he buys a GA, you'll be able to do something after you've initiated. Quite often, Rengar will jump in if he's built damage, kill someone, and then die. And it's what you expect, but it's such a surprising trade. He absorbs a lot of skill shots himself, absorbs a lot of damage, and he kills someone instantly, so it's a good trade. But they will buy a GA. Those scary targets are going to be less and less easy to pick up, as Ambition playing Rai is going to get super tanky. So the tanky Rengar does make sense. Pause has ended. We're resuming in 2 seconds. Game on.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, getting back into the game, we have a little bit of actually still on us. There we go. All right, as much as we love to look at us all day, I'm pretty sure we want to see this game. So we do have bottom lane here, World Elite Wei Xiao taking a bit of poke damage from that Kog'Maw. You're talking about he could be a scary force to be reckoned with if he gets into the later stages of the game. They're doing a really good job of keeping him down right now. On the side of Azubu Blaze, that we do see Cho'Gath going for his boots of mobility. Has he gotten an Oracle's Elixir yet or not is going to be the question, because that means he's going to be roaming around the map, trying to deny vision and get advantages for his team through sight.
And he just picked it up. Captain Jack bot lane, though, he's got living artillery now. Now he's applying a lot more pressure. Wei Xiao's going to have better auto attack harass, but there's actually a 4-man gank headed to the bot lane as with a bit of roam going on. Scared that Rengar top lane decided to try and apply some pressure. Looks like Dragon's going to be attempted by Blaze, and this is going to give a chance for Calmei to farm top, so they better get this.
Yeah, Blaze is going to want to get this to try to equalize the global gold count, because as you mentioned before, they have a bit of a behind on the top lane and a bit of behind on the bottom lane. Just look, equalize the situation all over the place fairly well. World Elite doesn't look like they're really in a position to contest this. Nuno's going to put a ward down, which will be gobbled up by Cho'Gath in absolutely no time. Blaze is going to take themselves an uncontested Dragon, try to even the gold count up a little bit, but Calmei in that top lane might be able to take down the tower. He's just pushing it through all the way.
And if you wonder why Rengar can push towers so well, his Savagery, his Q, it applies the damage onto turrets. Even if you've used it with the Ferocity bonus, it applies that much damage. His attack speed applies from both Ferocity and non-Ferocity uses, and it stacks. So you get like 100% attack speed, and you just shred through towers, which is taking down to half HP himself. He hasn't gone for the full push, but there is a lane swap going on, as Lustboy and Jack do head top lane, not wanting to deal with Vayne anymore, but really going to have so much trouble as that bot turret is already down to almost no HP.
That bot turret's going to fall in just a couple seconds here, and we thought this is what Blaze wanted to do at the beginning stages of the game, rather decided to keep Wei Xiao, or try to keep Wei Xiao under farm, now realizing that they're not going to be able to do so with the 2v2 lane. They're going to put Kog'Maw on that top lane, push back against Rengar, and therefore keep him down a little bit, and have Aurelia, who's already a bit behind, just try to play catch up and freeze that lane once the tower goes down against FZZF and Wei Xiao.
Well, better than saying Fizz. Shouts to Fizz for his awesome name, though. And I mean, they take that bottom turret, they're now 2,000 gold ahead, completely nullified that Dragon. When Captain Jack and Lustboy roam top, they miss so much CS, it just died to the turret, and they're scared. They're scared of Rengar. Calmei, even though it's a 2v1, he's level 9, he's a Rengar, he's scary as hell. So they gotta play defensively.
I don't know if it's a 2v1 anymore. Lustboy's going down into the bottom lane. Is he gonna support Aurelia? Is he just gonna be roaming around trying to get some vision down before he decides to head back top lane? I don't know about that one, but it's gonna be a little bit of a window of opportunity for Kog'Maw to be completely exposed in the top lane. If World Elite can identify this, they're probably just gonna collapse down, but Kog'Maw looks to be just hugging that tower in top lane.
I mean, if he shows himself and they see Lustboy somewhere else on the map, he's dead. Rengar presses R, it kills him immediately. He's actually been shown. There are pings onto him. They're looking for this kill. They want some blood. They want some Kog'Maw blood, even though it's really gross and acidy.
Well, it might be a little bit of a bait here. Helios is coming around the Oracle's Elixir. Lustboy, in the meantime, also taking the long way around, so they don't know he's there yet. They are going to be waiting in this bush here again to see if they're going to get the jump on the Captain Jack. Lustboy's going to show himself in this top lane, though, and I don't know if they're going to stick with this gank or not, but Lee Sin and Nunu now coming up as well. 4-member gank from World Elite coming into top lane.
Rengar still hasn't shown himself. He's hiding up there. Lee Sin in the area. They did spot him with the warp, but he killed it. He does have the oracles. It's only 2 up top versus it's gonna be 5 soon. They're collapsing in on this. They better leave the turret or they're gonna die.
Well, it looks like they're just pushing the wave up to get Rengar into that second bush. Then they're going to wind up closing the gap. Clearlove actually in a good spot here. Is going to put the ward down and kick Lustboy backwards into the rest of his team. That was a good play there. Being able to pick up the kill on Zyra. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Captain Jack going to go down to half HP. Have to use the flash as well. Zyra passive is going to wind up hitting members of World Elite. That tower goes down absolutely for sure. And that is another tower and advantage taken from World Elite.
And they can keep pushing. They're not going to stop. Why the hell should they stop? They have a really a bot lane. Not going to be top anywhere anytime soon. Even if she doesn't do anything. Calmei jumps forward, doesn't actually attack the turret, but they're applying the pressure. They're going to try and take turrets now, force the objectives, make Blaze play their own game.
interestingly enough, World Elite is Azubu blazing Azubu Blaze. So they're taking down the second top tower now at 13:01 into the game. Now they're going to go into the enemy jungle. They're going to pick up those double golems. Red buff is available. They could steal that one away and just continue to starve out Azubu Blaze. Poor Flame in the bottom lane finally getting some safe time to CS, but his team is losing the rest of the map because of this.
He's still down 20 CS. They took Dragon. They've attacked bottom turret a little bit. Only minions are going to be doing that damage, and that's not going to be enough to take it down. They need turrets. They need objectives. It's a 3,000 gold lead at the 13.5-minute mark. Not massive, but noticeable. It's something that it can decide the game at this point. And Bloodthirster now finished on onto Wai Zhao. Wai Zhao just completely terrifying. He's going to kill everybody because he can. He is a Vayne with a CS lead. He is a Vayne with a kill lead. He is a Vayne that has more objectives killed on the enemy team, and it's going to be so hard to beat him. They have to burst him down, but do they have the burst at this point? Has Ambition farmed up enough? And I don't know, and that's what's scary.
That's also a Vayne with about a 1,700 gold advantage on the enemy AD carry. And when that's a Kog'Maw, Kog'Maw's not going to be dealing nearly enough damage if he doesn't get into that late game state. So you mentioned Bloodthirster farming away. Kog'Maw not even completed his Zeal yet. So Kog'Maw's DPS is nowhere near Wei Zhao's Vayne. So Vayne, very, very scary looking at this point in the game, but so is the rest of Team World Elite. We haven't talked much about this mid lane though, as Ryze gone, picked up his Catalyst, has a Tear of the Goddess, he's been racking up the stacks on there, has a blue buff as well. But on the opposite side, Messiah's Diana, there hasn't been a lot of kind of trading action going back and forth, but you gotta remember, Diana went into a lane almost 10 CS behind and with first blood gold against her, and she's doing a really good job.
I mean, she's only 15 CS behind at this point. Well, about 20. Still, it's very equal. Top lane being pushed in by Kalme again. Rengar is just going to keep being aggressive towards top. If they ever leave someone alone to defend, because you can 1v1 most people, they might die, they might lose an inhibitor turret, or the rest of the team will push in and take some objectives. So they're now in a very scary point. Looking at bot lane, now they have clear love in the area to try and pressure it. They're going to try and just take more turrets, pressure more objectives. When someone shows their face top, they will take a turret bot.
Looks like Wei Zhao kind of get a little antsy there, wound up hitting Flame as they were trying to set up a gank here with Clear Love coming around the outside, but he is just going to clear off a ward, then continue to take away the wolves from the enemy team. And don't think that blue buff is up yet, otherwise they might be targeting that one next. But we are going to see panning back over to this bottom lane. Still the continued pressure from World Elite. Nunu and Vayne, and now at that point in time where Vayne is really scary, didn't need to go for the Zeal first, went for the damage because of the Blood Boil, and just look at her, racking up the kills, applying the pressure onto Azubu Blaze and onto that tower, already missing about a quarter of its HP, and they've only been there for a couple seconds.
This is scary for Blaze. They know that if they make a mistake anywhere on the map, Rengar will take advantage of Rengar will take the top turret. He can 1v1 Aurelia, he can 1v1 just about Aurelia, or just about anyone. He has a stay. Actually, running to Helios now, just gonna go aggressive because he can.
Yeah, you see him jump back out of that bush onto Helios. Kalme getting very aggressive. Ambition gonna come around the other side though. Could they pincer down on the Kalme here? He's gonna jump away. There goes the Rune Prison, but Blaze showing how scared they are right now of Rengar. Just back away from it.
Why should actually tank the turret down to almost no HP, just gonna kill it though. They have the objective, 4,000 gold lead. Dragons just respawned. Waijo's gonna heal a lot just from auto-attacking Dragon. And this is the problem they have. Like, they can't fight this. Aurelia doesn't do enough.
They really just can't. I thought they might use that opportunity to try to chase after this and go on to Wei Zhao while he's extremely low, but look how quickly they take down that Dragon. Lee Sin with the Madred's Razors hasn't even been able to chance to complete his Wriggles Lantern, but between that and the Silver Bolt stacking damage from Vayne, there goes the ultimate pop down on a Kog'Maw, knocked against the wall. Captain Jack, that is lights out. That is an entire World Elite team, and yet another kill going to Wei Zhao's Vayne.
Captain Jack being dishonorably discharged right there. They are so dominant right now. There is no protection for Kog'Maw. And look at Look at what will happen if Azubu enforces that team fight. They're going to not be able to get the Vayne. They're going to have Diana diving in them. They're going to have Kalme diving in them. Nunu for the zoning. Same with Clear Love. And they're just going to keep pressuring right now. With Kog'Maw gone, they don't have that much wave clear. Ryze isn't so good at it himself. And it looks like they might have held for now, but they do not have the map anymore.
They just don't, and that's actually a testament to where Kog'Maw was. He was standing underneath his own second tower, and they just dove him as a full team. They had no idea that they were there. They knew that they probably went back to Dragon. They had no idea where they were moving as just a unit, and that is just like we had Shogoth pick up the Boots of Mobility and Oracle's Elixir to try to clear out the map. He's been doing so and trying to clear out wards, but they haven't been able to secure their own because Lee Sin went that Wriggles Lantern early on, got his own Oracle's Elixir for his team, and is letting Wei Zhao, letting Messiah, and letting Rengar just continue to push throughout the map and just take advantage of Azubu Blaze everywhere.
I mean, right now, Azubu, they're the nerds. They're the bullies, they're shoving them up to the lockers, taking their lunch money, and they just can't do anything in response. They have to gather up. They have to force a team fight because the 1v1 capability is not there on anybody. Ambition, he's Ryze. Ryze is a great character once you've gotten enough items, but that's not the case. He barely finished his Rod of Ages. That's going to take some time to build up those stacks to be really efficient and effective. And just across the map, it's kind of the same thing, where Flame can't fight, the rest of the team can't fight, and they're just going to keep pressuring. They know if they just split push, they'll win. They group up really quickly, take a turret, and they can just go back to split pushing, keep getting an advantage.
Kame in this bottom lane has completed his Warmog's armor, so he's a very, very tanky kitty cat Rengar indeed. But going up against his Kog'Maw now, Captain Jack only has just completed his Zeal, trying to get that Phantom Dancer to get the extra DPS out. One thing that will work out for Kog'Maw fairly well is as the game goes on, he'll just naturally deal more damage from that Bio-Arcane Barrage, and having a very tanky Rengar, you know, he's not going to be the perfect target for him to hit, but if he does get caught in a position, or they catch Rengar out of position as he continues to just split push away, eventually Kog'Maw's will be able to deal enough damage with that % HP shred on Bio-Arcane Barrage, but at this point in time, there's just no way he's dealing enough damage.
Oh, Helios is not in a good spot right now.
Helios actually getting tagged down by Weijia, gets condemned out of everything, but a Moonfall from Messiah is going to pull him back in, and that is another kill for Team World Elite, and it looks like this is going to give him a Baron attempt.
Baron pings right down Aurelia bot lane, so is Rengar, but Rengar actually distracting Rise at the same time. It looks like Lustboy and Captain Jack are headed up there, but they don't have a smite, they don't have a lot of damage to hit him with. And what is Kame doing?
He's just letting them chase after him. He's so tanky, he can tank these tower shots. He might die in this one, but look at this. His team's gotten Baron. Now he has the Baron regen on top of everything. The extra damage comes through. Flame is taking so much damage. Ambitions, he can't even get over the wall there. He doesn't want to burn Flash. He wants to zone them out in their own base and try to collapse on it when their turrets are gone. When
he still has Flash up. He can get out of there if he wants to. Well, just wasting their time. Uses his ultimate, not actually going anywhere.
Wow, that was awesome by Kame.
He's gone!
Wow.
He used the vision reveal from his ultimate to see when they'd gotten out of position, use a leap from his stealth, and of course, when you flash from stealth, it doesn't actually break you out. Rengar, why are you so broken? Kame, why are you so damn good?
And that just lets World Elite pressure this mid lane. Azubu Blaze was all just waiting there. It's like when you play a bot game and you go invisible and they stand next to you because they know you're there, but they don't leave. It was the same exact thing that happened there, and Kame just baited all of Azubu Blaze. His team got Baron for free. They put pressure in that mid lane. They put more pressure on that bottom lane. On top of that, he got a lot of CS.
He got a lot of CS. He wasted a lot of their time. Now, 5 Baron buffs on Wii. They're scary, they're strong, they have a 7,000 gold lead, they need to buy some items. Once they've done so, actually, they just did that. So Phantom Dancer finished on Vayne, has a Longsword going for that last Whisper. Rengar, Chain Vest, Negatron Cloak also has the Warmogs. Everybody's tanky, everybody's getting scary. Zeke's finished on Nunu. That's a big deal. That's a very big deal.
You have a Zeke's on the Nunu for not only the Vayne who's getting Blood, but the Rengar who's been taking swings away. Lee Sin who's completed an Aegis of the Legion of his own. That is going to be a very powerful World Elite when they get into these team fights. And just taking a look at the items that Vayne has. Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster, double Dorans, going for potentially a last Whisper with that Longsword in her inventory slot. Look at Kog'Maw, all he has is the Phantom Dancer. There's a whole 2 or 3 items that Vayne is up on Kog'Maw right now.
I'm loving this Wii push. They can go aggressive. They've got the siege capabilities. Who's going to wave clear that well in Azubu? Captain Jack can try and do so, going to take a lot of damage in response, though.
And if Helios tries to wave clear, he's going to use all the skills, but there we go. Kame's actually going in as well. There's the absolute zero being popped from Nunu. Double kill being picked up by Diana. She jumped in as soon as Rengar did. Vayne on the back of this, going to take up a kill from Kog'Maw. Meanwhile, Rengar's going to melt that Ambition's Rise and Flame, the only one left, and he is snuffed out by Wei Zhao. That is a complete ace from World Elite. 5 for none against Azubu Blaze, and they surrender! Blaze forfeits, and World Elite going to advance from the group 2-0.
World Elite looking just spectacular right there. Who cares if that's your base? Who cares if that's your turrets we're diving? We're going to chase you guys down, we're going to murder you, and the most damage we're going to take is from Kog'Maw's passive and Zyra's passive because we've already killed you.
11-2 was the final score in champion kills. The gold count, how far ahead were they in gold at that point? I don't even know. It was like...
It was well, they were ahead 7,000, so I guess 8,000, 9,000 at that point. But I mean, there was just no game from Blaze. Their confidence was shot. How could they fight it? It's not. They couldn't rely on a late game because we had a fantastic late game. If you're Kog'Maw going up against a Vayne, and you're behind as Kog'Maw, you're probably gonna die. Same thing other way around, but just they got the early advantage. They pressured hard. We going over to shake Blaze's hands. They've got the sportsmanship. They're cordial. They are awesome as hell. And Blaze being cool in response too.
That was such an